Soft morning light spreads across Beverly Hills, washing the quiet streets in gentle gold. The city is waking up, but the world feels still, as if holding its breath. A red silk dress hangs alone on a rack, its fabric swaying softly, as though it remembers a night full of laughter and dreams. A pearl necklace lies on a dresser, catching the first beam of sunlight. The camera glides past these objects slowly, almost reverently, showing them not as props but as symbols of a love story. Frozen in time, a limo door closes with a firm click, echoing through the empty driveway. The camera never rises high enough to reveal faces. Instead, it focuses on moving hands, polished shoes, and reflections on shining car windows. Every image feels familiar, like fragments from a memory the viewer hasn't visited in years. The scene shifts to a newspaper resting on a cafe table. A breeze flips the page, revealing a small headline: Beverly Hills Love Story, 30 years later. Only a few words, but enough to make the heart pause. The paper rustles again, and the camera drifts upward, showing the early morning glow hitting tall buildings, reminders of success, change, and the passing of time. A soft voice begins to speak, not dramatic, but filled with warmth. Some stories leave a mark so deep, the years can never erase it. Some connections never truly end. They simply wait. The music is gentle, building slowly, like a heartbeat gaining strength. The visuals move to a close-up of a velvet box opening, revealing a ring that once meant everything. We see a gloved hand brushing the dust from its surface, the movement careful and thoughtful. The camera then cuts to the inside of a luxury penthouse, where an untouched piano sits by a window. One key is pressed down gently, producing a quiet note that fades into the growing morning light. Then we see Beverly Hills again, busier now, full of cars and life. But the focus stays on small things: a bouquet of roses being wrapped, a pair of high heels stepping across a marble floor, a balcony curtain fluttering in the breeze. These images say what words do not. Time has passed, but something is returning. Something is shifting. The narrator continues: before the world knew their names, they were just two people searching for something real. And now, after all these years, their story is about to open again. The music swells just slightly, hinting at emotion, hinting at hope. As the section ends, the camera drifts back to the red dress. It hangs still, untouched, but now it feels alive, like the beginning of a new chapter waiting to be written. The world has changed since their story first lit up Beverly Hills, and time has carved new paths for both of them. The morning light now falls on a tall glass building, where Edward Lewis sits in his office high above the city. We never see his face, only the outline of his figure against the skyline. Papers are spread across his desk, but he isn't reading them. His hand rests on a framed photo, turned slightly away, as if he is afraid to look directly at what it holds. The city moves below him, but the room feels still, heavy with quiet. A soft ticking clock fills the background. Edward closes a file with a gentle but tired motion. His life is successful, polished, disciplined, yet empty in a way only he understands. The camera follows him as he walks across the office. His steps are steady, measured, practiced. When he stops at the window, his reflection is faint, a reminder of a man who has gained everything the world told him to want, but somehow lost the one thing he never found again. Cut to a different world entirely. A backstage hallway filled with soft chatter, fabric rustle, and warm lights. Vivian is there, mature, graceful, confident. Again, her face stays hidden, seen only through her hands adjusting a row of handmade jewelry for a charity fashion gala. She moves with calm certainty, the kind that comes from years of learning who she is and what she stands for. A volunteer approaches, and Vivian's hand touches theirs briefly in reassurance. Her energy is kind, warm, the kind that draws people in even without a single glimpse of her face. The camera drifts to a wall covered with photos, charity events, outreach programs, young people she has helped. She built a life she never imagined back in those early days, a life shaped by strength, compassion, and her own hard work. We see a small moment that says everything: a worn, old postcard tucked into her planner. A postcard from Beverly Hills. She closes the planner quickly, almost protectively, and continues preparing for the event. It's a quiet gesture, but it reveals the truth: her past may be distant, but it was never forgotten. The scene shifts again. A quiet home at dusk. A shelf filled with books on personal growth, empowerment, and dreams. The camera glides over them before settling on a soft lamp in the corner. Vivian switches it on with a gentle touch. Light fills the room, warm and comforting, but her shadow stretches long across the wall, showing a hint of loneliness hidden beneath her strong exterior. Then, the narrator returns. Years can change the world, but they cannot erase the moments that shaped a heart. The music deepens. We see Edward step into an elevator, straightening his tie. preparing for another long day that brings him success but not joy. We see Vivian closing her studio for the night, pressing the light switch, leaving the room dark but peaceful. Two lives, two paths, both once intertwined, now distant. Yet the air feels charged, almost expectant, as if something long buried is beginning to rise again. Before the section ends, the camera lands onto places Edward's forgotten photo frame and Vivian's hidden postcard. They sit miles apart, untouched and quiet, but both waiting for the moment when their worlds will cross once more. Asterisk night settles over Beverly Hills like a quiet secret. The streets glow under soft yellow lights, and the city feels different, still familiar, but heavy with something unseen. A storm begins to whisper in the distance, the first raindrops tapping gently against windows. This is the kind of night where fate moves quietly, choosing its moment with care. The camera glides through the hallway of Edward's penthouse. Everything is neat, structured, and controlled, exactly how he built his world. But tonight, something breaks that order. A shadow slides across the marble floor. A hand gloved palm slips a thick envelope under Edward's door. The moment is quick, silent, almost invisible. But it changes everything. Edward walks into the room only minutes later, loosening his tie. He reaches for his phone, checking messages out of habit, expecting nothing new. Then his eyes fall to the floor, or rather, the camera shows his shoes stop beside the envelope. His hand hesitates before picking it up, fingers tightening around the edges. The paper feels old, important, familiar. Without a word, he carries it to his desk. The rain outside grows louder as he opens it slowly, as if afraid of what he might find inside. Meanwhile, miles away, Vivian finishes her final task for the night at her studio. She reaches for her coat when she notices something on the table. She doesn't remember placing there a small, cream-colored envelope with no name, no return address. Her hand pauses in midair, and the room seems to grow still. She touches the envelope lightly, as though checking if it's real. The camera follows her steps as she sits down, the lights above gently dimming. Her fingers trace the edge before she finally opens it. Inside both envelopes lies the same thing, a single sheet of thick paper, worn at the corners, the same handwriting, the same message. We never see the full letter, only small glimpses. It's time. Please come. Before it's too late. Edward leans back in his chair, the letter trembling slightly in his hand. A phone on his desk lights up with an incoming call, showing only unknown number. He stares at it, frozen, and when he finally answers, the camera stays on his hand gripping the phone. A familiar voice speaks on the other end, soft, older, yet unmistakable. But the audience never hears the words. All we see is Edward's other hand tightening into a fist. Cut back to Vivian. She holds the letter close to the light, reading every line slowly. Her breath catches for a moment, a tiny emotional break she tries to hide even though no one is watching. She folds the letter carefully, almost respectfully, and presses it to her chest before slipping it into her coat pocket. The narrator returns, voice low and steady. Some doors never truly close. Some stories only pause, until the truth knocks again. The storm outside grows stronger now. Lightning flashes across the city, revealing quick shots of taxi splashing through rain, a street light flickering, a train departing from a quiet station. All ordinary moments, yet they carry the weight of something big approaching. Then the camera cuts sharply. Edward stepping into the elevator, letter in hand. Vivian locking her studio door, envelope in her pocket. To decisions made, to journeys starting. Two hearts unknowingly moving toward the same destination. The music rises, building tension. A final lightning flash fills the screen before everything fades to black. Rain sweeps across the city, through the night, washing the streets clean and turning every light into a shimmering reflection. By morning, Beverly Hills wakes under a silver sky, quiet and thoughtful, as if aware that something long-awaited is finally about to unfold. The camera moves to a luxury hotel entrance. A black car pulls up slowly, its tires cutting through small puddles. The door opens, revealing only a pair of familiar high heels stepping down, followed by a glimpse of a long coat brushing gently against the pavement. It's Vivian arriving in silence, carrying a mixture of hope and fear that shows only through the tension in her hands. She pauses for a moment, looking up at the tall building. The camera never shows her face, but the way her shoulders rise on a deep, steady breath tells us everything. This place holds memories she has tried to hide from herself for years. Inside the hotel, a balcony overlooking the city stands open. Curtains sway softly as a cool breeze drifts in. Edward waits there, standing just behind the doorway. His posture is calm, but his hands betray him. One grips the balcony rail too tightly. The other holds the letter folded neatly in his pocket. He checks his watch, not out of impatience, but out of nervous habit. The quiet around him feels heavy, as though the past is standing beside him, reminding him of every choice he made and every moment he lost. The scene shifts to the hallway. Vivian walks carefully, her footsteps soft and steady on the carpet. A low musical note hums in the background, building slow tension. She stops outside a door, the same suite number from years ago. Her hand hesitates before reaching forward, fingers trembling just enough to show the weight of the moment. For a second, she lowers her hand again, as if she's thinking of walking away. But something pushes her forward, something stronger than fear. She knocks, gently. One soft tap that seems to echo through time. Inside, Edward freezes. His breath catches in his throat, and the room goes still. He walks toward the door slowly, almost cautiously, as if afraid the person on the other side might vanish if he moves too fast. The camera captures only the tension in his movements, the slight shake in his hand, the shift of his shadow on the wall. He opens the door. For a split second, the screen does not show anything except the doorway between them, the space that once separated their lives and now connects them again. Their silhouettes stand facing each other, close yet distant, familiar yet changed. No faces, just the quiet power of two people brought back together by something neither of them fully understands yet. Then the camera lowers to their hands. Vivian's hand rests at her side, uncertain. Edward's hand twitches slightly, wanting to reach out but stopping himself. The silence between them is thick, almost painful, filled with memories that never really faded. The narrator speaks softly. Sometimes the hardest journey is the one that brings you back to the person you once walked away from. Edward finally lifts a hand, slow, careful. Vivian watches him, her breath shaky, her posture fragile yet brave. When his hand reaches hers, he doesn't grab it. He simply lets his fingers brush against her knuckles, like a whisper of the past returning. And she responds. Her hand rises, meeting his halfway. Fingers touch, uncertain at first, then settle into a soft, familiar hold. It is not dramatic. It is not perfect. It is real to people reaching for something they lost, something they once thought they'd never find again. Outside, the rain stops. Sunlight breaks through the clouds. Glowing warm on the balcony behind them, they step inside together. Slowly, quietly. A beginning wrapped inside an ending. The scene fades with only one image left on screen, their intertwined hands, fragile but determined, resting gently between them. The reunion brings warmth, but warmth is fragile. Morning light spreads across the hotel suite, soft and gold, but it cannot hide the shadows forming around their lives. The camera opens on Edward's desk, stacks of files, contracts, and documents stamped with heavy legal seals. One paper lies on top, its title bold and cold, Dissolution of Empire. His hand rests on it, unmoving, as if he's been staring at it for hours. He drags the document closer. The camera never shows his face, only the tightness in his jaw, revealed through the reflection on the polished surface of the desk. Edward's company, the empire he built with a lifetime of discipline, is under threat. Not from the market, not from chance, but from people he once trusted. The trailer shows a flash of a shadowy figure walking down a hallway, a blurred reflection on a glass door, a signature scribbled in a hidden deal. These glimpses are fast, sharp, unsettling, like pieces of a puzzle meant to warn, not explain. The scene shifts to Vivian. She stands in a bright, open room filled with volunteers and creative workstations. The atmosphere is warm, but her expression, hidden just off camera, is troubled. She listens as a young organizer explains that the charity funding has been cut. Their biggest program, one that helps girls chase dreams she once thought were impossible, is now at risk of closing. Vivian's hand grips the edge of the table. Her voice is steady, but her breath visibly shakes. She looks at a wall filled with photos of smiling faces from past events. A soft piano note plays, carrying quiet grief. Vivian steps away from the group and moves into a small back room. Alone, she reaches into her coat and pulls out the letter from the mysterious envelope. She holds it tightly, as though trying to understand what force has pushed her life back into Edward's world. Just as everything begins to fall apart, cut to Edward again. He meets with his legal advisor in a private office. We see only the advisor's hands tapping nervously on the table, and the documents sliding toward Edward. Someone has been dismantling your company piece by piece, the advisor says. The camera focuses on Edward's hand tightening into a fist. The betrayal feels personal, deep, dangerous. The narrator enters, voice low and steady. Love does not return to a peaceful world. It returns when the world needs it most. Next, the screen shows a hint of the enemy. Not fully, just a shadow stepping into a high-end office, the outline of a smirk reflected in glass. A hand releasing a contract with a destructive signature. The music grows darker, richer, full of tension. Vivian's challenge grows too. She receives a call, short, upsetting, The camera stays close to her hands as she grips the phone tightly. Someone is threatening the future of her charity, using influence and money to block her projects. The reason is unclear, but the timing is too sharp to be a coincidence. As they face these challenges separately, the trailer cuts between them, Edward standing alone in his dim office, city lights flickering behind him. Vivian reviewing budgets and letters late at night, her desk lamp creating a lonely glow. Two battles, two fires pressing in on them, and both battles seem connected to the mysterious message that brought them together. In a powerful moment, Edward walks onto the hotel balcony. Vivian steps out slowly beside him. Their silhouettes stand against the fading sun. Two figures facing storms they never expected to fight again. The camera focuses on their hands not touching, but so close that the distance between their fingers feels like a question. Edward breaks the silence first, not with words we hear, but with a gesture. He places the folded threat-laced document on the table between them. Vivian watches him, then lays her charity papers beside his to problems. Two hearts, one crossroads. The music rises, dramatic and full of gravity. The narrator speaks the final line of the section. Some challenges arrive not to break them, but to bring them back to each other. The screen fades to black. Asterisk life begins to speed up around them, as if the universe has decided that once two hearts return to the same path, nothing should move slowly anymore. The screen fades from black into a quick flash of Beverly Hills glowing under a bright afternoon sun. A soft wind moves through the palm trees, and the city seems alive with new energy, and energy neither Edward nor Vivian expected to feel again. The montage begins with a slow-motion shot of Vivian walking through a busy street, her heels clicking in a steady rhythm. The camera focuses on the gentle sway of her dress, the way her hand brushes past storefronts decorated with memories of who she used to be. A couple holding hands crosses in front of her, and she pauses just slightly, as if reminded of a love she once thought belonged only to her youth. Cut to Edward. He stands in the center of a grand office lobby, people rushing around him, speaking quickly, handing him documents. But he isn't listening. His attention is elsewhere, on the world outside the tall glass windows. His reflection stares back at him, older, more complicated, yet more awake than it has been in years. The music rises, warmer now, and the montage shifts to a rooftop garden. Vivian stands at the edge, looking out over the city. Edward steps behind her, keeping a respectful distance. No words are exchanged, but something unspoken passes between them, something fragile, something familiar. The wind lifts her hair, and the quiet between them feels heavier than the noise of the entire city below. Next, we see Vivian alone in a dance studio. The lights are dim, and soft instrumental music plays through the speakers. She moves through slow steps, not with the excitement of her past, but with the grace and wisdom of her present self. Her movements are gentle, thoughtful, like she's trying to find a part of herself she forgot existed. The camera cuts to the mirror in front of her. Her reflection is blurry, but her determination is clear. Then Edward appears in the doorway behind her, watching silently. His posture is steady, but there's a softness in the curve of his shoulders. He doesn't interrupt. He simply lets her finish, understanding that some things must be felt before they can be shared. The montage shifts again, faster now. The two of them walking side by side through a night market full of lights and music. Edward handing a small bouquet to a street vendor, leaving it quietly at Vivian's side without a word. Vivian laughing softly at something he says off camera, her hand brushing against her chest in a surprised, touched gesture. A moment where they almost take each OT.